that sets me free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when I feel I've lost my way, when I go inside and quiet my mind and hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets me free. There is only love.
Good morning. We'll be opening our service with an old favorite, When I Meet You Here. Words and lyrics or music and lyrics by Cindy Borup. Longtime Unity member, and and great songwriter. When I meet you here, see your eyes shining bright, windows on your heart's own light. It's the light of love. When I take your hand, look into your smiling face, there can't be a better place when I meet you here. When I meet you here, there hardly seems a need for words. Power of the universe flows through you and me. When our voices sing, we put aside our every fear. Every note is sweet and clear when I meet you here. On this day we come together in the morning sun to see our children laugh and run and to share this dream of everlasting light that shines to let our souls ascend. It shines on you and me, my friend, when I meet you here. meet you here. See your eyes shining bright. Windows on your heart's own light. It's the light of love. When I take your hand, look into your smiling face. There can't be a better place when I meet you here. Good morning. Thank you. We welcome you here, your family and your friends, to Unity Spiritual Center, where we honor the universal truths in all religions and respect each individual's right to choose a spiritual path. No matter who you are and where you are on your path, you are welcomed here. My name is Jane McLean, and I'm your platform assistant today. And we have Reverend Sandra Soley as our guest speaker today, and you have already listened to the 4 calling birds. So I think just move on. I don't see any announcements for today. I'm just going to kind of throw in one that I just kind of top of my head. I believe next week is Reverend-elect James Tierney is going to speak. And some of you may have received a little envelope this morning that is an opportunity for you to do an evaluation on his talk. If you did not get one this morning, you should be getting one in the mail. And we would love to have you here to listen to him speak. And if you're not able to make it, if you can either watch during the live stream or watch the service later on after it's posted on YouTube. So there's 3 different ways that you can see him speak. And we'd love to have your feedback about how he touched you and affected you. So we have come to the time in the service that many of us have always treasured. The time where we get to greet each other with a handshake or with a hug. And although we're unable to do that at this time, we invite you to take a moment and visualize yourself warmly embracing those whom you have been missing. And if you are blessed to have others with you in your household while you're watching the live stream, please give them a hug and let them know how much that you are appreciating them in your life. And for those who are here in this room right now, I invite you to look around a room, connect with people, give them a little wave, and say hello. Give them blow a little kiss, and say, thank you for being in my life. A smile in your eyes can go a long way to express the love that you feel in your heart. So, glad to see you all here today. And, hey, we're going on to our music for the meditation hymn. Oh, excuse me. 5 principles. All right. So, the 5 principles, it's going to be off the top of my head. Let's see if I remember them. Okay, number 1. I said, God is good, thank you. Be present in all things. The holiness of God is my own true nature. I am creating my experiences by how I think. My daily guided by my daily affirmative prayers and affirmative actions. I hold those, right, in my heart and practice them. I'm sorry, I forgot. We'll do that better the next time. All right, now it's the meditation. Prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you. Lord, prepare me to be a sanctuary, pure and holy, tried and true. With thanksgiving, I'll be a living sanctuary for you.
And so I invite you to join me in preparing for our time of meditation. And in doing so, I'm going to invite you to take just a moment to look outside. Let's take a nice deep breath and breathe that on in. All the way into that heart space. Now you may choose to close your eyes if you so wish. And I also invite you to feel your feet on the ground. You may even want to wiggle your toes a little bit and prepare, because we're going to do a meditation of just visualizing ourselves taking a walk this day. Following that breath and truly settling in, not in the mind, but in the heart. Breathing in and out of the heart space and trusting that one power, that one presence with which we connect. And allowing my voice to lead you. Simply move into that place of journey, of taking a walk, a little walk, out into the world, out into this time of spring, knowing that each and every step you take is a step you take on holy ground. And begin to look through those eyes of the heart to what is around you. And search for and find some little new beginning of new life. Perhaps it's that bright green that's at the tip of the evergreens, shooting out its new life. Something springing up from the ground. New leaves emerging from trees that have been barren through the winter. And allow that connection between you and your environment to begin to truly flow back and forth from your heart to the very heart of nature, acknowledging that new growth, that new beginning, that light of love that is reassuring that all is well. All is unfolding in divine right order. And now in that place of inner awareness, knowing that we live in a world here of so much beauty, find yourself on a path where you can see those beautiful mountains, white with the snow and the sun glimmering off. Breathe in that energy and that love. And allow that heart space within you to flow back out, knowing that you stand on sacred ground and you are viewing sacred ground. For everywhere there is that gift of the divine expressing. Soak it in with your eyes, with your heart, with your whole being. Let it refresh and renew you. And releasing and letting go. Turn for a moment over to that beautiful falls that's in the middle of Bellingham, that Whatcom Falls. Walk on that path, that holy ground, and hear the water and be on the other side of all that wondrous energy just flowing to you, and allow your heart to just flow back, knowing that you are in the midst of sacred ground, sacred life. And now allow your walk to journey a little further south. And walk at a holy path that leads in and through the tulip fields, seeing the many beautiful colors that are unfolding for you and as you, that light and love of God that is just everywhere present. Breathe in its abundance and its love and its joy, and release and embrace it in your own love. And be in gratitude for this springing forth that is happening. And now, journey on out to the bay for just a moment. Taking a few steps on another sacred path. And feeling the wind and hearing the water and looking out and seeing the birds and the life all about. Who knows, maybe you'll spot a whale out there somewhere, or certainly see a seal. Just allow yourself to be with it for a moment, taking it all in, feeling the life and the love and the gift of the presence everywhere. Everywhere. And now, breathing in and letting go with that. Feel your feet moving back into this room and yourself sitting in your chair. And take another nice, deep, deep breath. And as you let it go, know that you are God's beloved, walking on holy ground, breathing the very breath of God, and living in the light of true love. And for this, we are so grateful. We are so, so grateful. And so I invite you to stay in that meditative inner place of gratitude. And allow these words of the Lord's Prayer to be with you. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we have forgiven our debtors. And leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Though I may speak with bravest fire, and have the gift to all inspire, and have not love, my words are vain as sounding brass and hopeless gain. Though I may give all I possess, and striving so my love profess, but not begin my love within, the prophet soon turns strangely thin. Come, Spirit, come. Come, Spirit, come. Our hearts control. Our spirits long. Our spirits long. To be made whole. Oh, come. Let inward love guide every deed. Guide every deed. By this we live. By
let's welcome again Sandra Soley Keep.
All right. Well, this is a new thing for me. Whoa. I just have to take a minute and kind of soak it all in. It's like I've been doing a few talks for you in this interim while you're searching for a new minister, but it's always nobody's in here. And there's this little camera over here that I'm supposed to talk to. Which was very strange to start with, and then I got used to that. But now it's like, here you are, in all your beauty, and all of your handsomeness, and anybody here that's also your first time of like being back with this kind of an experience, of being in the sanctuary now after this? You've done it before. Good, good. Well, you can support me with my new experience, okay? We're going to be talking about something today that I think is going to be an important one for all of us. It certainly has been my entire life an important one, and that is the concept of finding love in all the right places. We all have a little, we've heard that. You can find love in the wrong places, right? Yeah, we don't want to do that. We want to figure out how is it and what is it that we find it in the right places. And what I want to invite you to do today with me is to do as we began in the meditation, and that is to really consider moving into a heart space today. Because after all, we are going to be talking about love. And the thing about the heart space is in the spiritual realm, and also it shows up in the scientific realm. Even there's an organization called HeartMath that tells you a lot about it. That it's from the place of heart that we tune into in a whole new way to what is going on. It's where we tune in more with image and more with imagination and more with our creative side even. It's also that place where we begin to give ourselves some real important feedback about what's going on with us, what's going on with the world, so that we can be in that place. And I also want to take just a moment to acknowledge those people who will be watching us from a video. I actually know personally we've got people from around different places, back east and down in Mexico, and who knows. But we open ourselves to that reality, don't we? That we now live in a world in which we're connecting in so many ways. And the connection I want us to tune into today is that heart connection, okay? Because a lot's been going on for us. It's been 3 weeks, of course, since Easter, but we have been living, haven't we, in this atmosphere of COVID-19. And so the concept of resurrection feels pretty different for us this year, I think. Certainly does for me. And the awareness that we've really not quite gotten out of the tomb of COVID-19. We've got our masks on, right? Unless we're a good, safe distance. And we're checking out with everybody of, have you had your vaccines yet? You've not had your vaccine yet? How are we doing with all of this? So trying to find this balance, trying to work with all of this. And as I was thinking about that, I ran across a Ness Rudin story. And Ness Rudin was sort of an enlightened trickster in some ways. He's from the Sufi tradition. He's a good Sufi story. And the story goes that Ness Rudin was walking down a road one day, and he comes upon this man who is all down on the ground. He's sitting, he's all hunched down, over this little tattered sack. And the man is just desolate, it looks like. And so Nasruddin asks him, he says, well, what's wrong? And the man points to his sack, and he moans, and he says, my life is wretched. Poor me, everything that I own is in this miserable sack. This is all I have in the world. Nasruddin says, too bad. And then Nasruddin grabs the sack and runs away. Well, by the time the guy gets up, he's gone. He's over the hill. And he's like, why, he bursts into tears. What am I going to do now? All I had was this miserable sack, and now it's gone. What am I going to do? Well, meanwhile, Nasruddin runs up the hill, round the bend, and he places the sack very neatly in the middle of the road, where he knows when the fellow comes around, he's likely and will run into it. And Nasruddin goes and he hides behind a bush to see what will happen. Well, the man slowly trudges on up the hill and he's crying out, oh, miserable me, miserable me. My sack is gone. And then he comes around the bend. He climbs up the hill, he comes around the bend, and it's like, my sack, my precious sack. There's my sack. Everything, it's there. It's back. Oh, how blessed I am. Why, I thought I'd lost you. Well, watching through the bushes, Nasruddin chuckles. That's one way to make somebody happy. Show them the value of what they hold in their own hand. Since Easter, we've had lots of signs of new spring. I, this morning, looked out my back window, and I've got 2 apple trees that are just in full bloom right in my view there. And it's so lovely to have them there. And yeah, what I recognized also is we've had this barrage of things going on in the world of both despair and hope and death and new birth and injustices and justices, and both in our nation and around the world. It's like India right now is having this huge high explosion of COVID. And we want to know, I think all of us, it's not just out there, but things are, of course, continue to go on in our own lives, right? Things come and go and happen, and we're trying to handle it all. And we want to know, where's it heading? What's going on? Where's it heading? How am I to handle all this? How am I to deal with all this? Well, what I want to say is I do believe there is a way for us to be resurrected from all of these up and downs so that we can come into the awareness that love actually is, no matter what the outside circumstances, always present. Always present and always available for us and for us. Unity has been a very important part of that journey for me, of coming to recognize and realize the teachings that we share that help us remember and know that we're not alone, that we truly are a part, and as we say with the first principle, there's only one power and presence active in the universe and in our lives. And however you may say it, we come to know and trust that and to recognize in our unity teachings that we too are a part of that energy, of that light, of that love. This month, you've been focusing on love, on the power of love, and been working this whole year with Unity's 12 Powers, which is a concept, an awareness from really his own spiritual work of our co-founder, Charles Fillmore. And what Charles says about love is that love is the power that binds together the whole human family. And that in divine mind, love is the power that binds into divine harmony the universe and everything in it. That love is the great, he called it the harmonizing principle, the best and largest and greatest harmonizing principle known to human beings, known to us. In terms of the Bible, the way Charles used to anchor in on that is he used to talk about, always in love to speak of, Christ in you, the hope of glory. That energy, that possibility lives in each and every one of us. And certainly, we fall onto those teachings, and we all want to know, how do we begin to live these? And in Unity, what we have focused on is there are many traditions in the world, and they all are, in a sense, and we hold that consciousness of pointing to the same thing. Whether it's called the Christ nature or the Buddha nature, whatever it may be from all of the different traditions, the thing that's always interesting is when we start paying attention to the mystics from various traditions, because they are the ones that are getting closer and closer to the truth of the one. The truth of the one. And every single tradition has a great honoring of love. The Sufi tradition especially focuses on the importance of love, but they all do. They all do. When we pay attention to it, that's what is the underlying truth that merges and bubbles up in and through everything, is this consciousness that getting closer to the divine is getting more and more anchored in love. That the divine, whatever you call it, is a great mystery that is beyond what we can label, beyond what we can understand, but that what we become tuned to, and those who from the heart space have spent eons of time throughout the ages of tuning in and listening and meditating and spending time in caves and spending time in monasteries, that what is there is this great connection of love. This great connection of love. In Unity, we focus especially on the teachings of Jesus. And I hear what I'm saying, we focus on the teachings because we really pay attention to him as a way shower, as somebody who is pointing the way to us and for us about how to live, how to be in the world. And that it's by his living example that we are informed. Now, when asked about what were the greatest commandments, what to do, how to live life, what did he tell us? What did he say? Well, his greatest commandment was love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. That was the greatest of the commandments. And the second, he said, was to love your neighbor as yourself. Very interesting. As yourself. So he's also telling us, love ourselves, right? I mean, if I can't love myself, I'm not going to do a very good job loving my neighbor, am I? No. The other thing that's there that I think is so important is he's talking about relationship. Love is about relationship. Relationship. That as we do the first commandment, which is to become aware of loving God, and as we teach, know, in unity that God is everywhere present, as a consciousness, as energy, as more than. And I want to say something else about that because, another thing Jesus said was to love even our enemies, right? I mean, he talks about how it's pretty easy to kind of love your neighbor who you're in agreement with, but what about loving your enemy? And then he goes on to say, God shines the sun on everybody. God is present for everybody. And he's giving us in that a big understanding of the divine, isn't he? Because he's saying God is intimate, connects with us one-on-one. We have our own way of connecting in with that. But he's also saying God is in all of it. The wholeness, the everything. And that God's energy is one of loving it all. Loving it all. And so there's a huge call there. There's been a whole lot going on in the world where we could find some enemies. Right? And what about seeing and realizing that the greatest work that we can do is to come into knowing and being and expressing and putting out that energy of love. Nothing is more transformative. Nothing is more transformative. It's like, I have to say that in my own life, and I know we all do, there's been in and outs and all kinds of learnings about love, right? And we've probably all had experiences of feeling really connected and then feeling like we've been betrayed and things haven't worked out, feeling like things are against us, trying to work through all that. But what's really being taught, I think, is that we always have choice. We always have choice. And that the reality is for us to begin to understand that this physical body that we're living in is not all that we are. You've probably heard someone say, it's not that we're human beings having a spiritual experience, that we're actually spiritual beings having a human experience. It was way back with Teilhard de Chardin. That was his awareness that we now think of as being sort of a new thought awareness. No, he was able to, he was a very interesting man. He was a Catholic priest. He was a paleontologist, a scientist who studied all the earth and everything about it. And he had really strong mystical experiences of connection. And then when he tried to write about those, which he did in beautiful, beautiful ways, Of course, the church didn't like what he was doing, and so he got censored, and his things didn't really get published until after his passing. But there was something there that he knew and he shared that was really, I think, important for all of us to begin to tune into. Because what we're wanting to do is we're beginning to want to embrace that, to recognize that as spiritual beings, and I want you to think about this a little differently. Instead of thinking of yourself as a human being that has a little spiritual being inside of you, okay? How about thinking of yourself just as the divine is, everywhere present, that spiritual being that is here in this physical. And that the way we communicate and learn to really know that spiritual being part of us is when we begin to follow in the steps of wayshower, whatever that wayshower may be for us. But the wayshower of seeking truth, seeking love, seeking connection. And that spiritual being, part of us, the truth of us that is spiritual, and that is connected to the whole, then has this ability to connect in with that whole. Because we're connected on an energy level. There's another mystic named Julian of Norwich who said, everything it is has its being through the love of God. Well, the science world says it in another way. Philosopher Ken Wilber says it from this scientific stance. He says, everything is a holon. And holon is just a word for it's a whole. Okay? And so everything is a holon. And every holon is a part that replicates the whole. Okay? So each one of us might think of ourselves as we are a holon, that we are a part of the infinite whole, and that the most powerful way that we connect with that whole is through the power of love. Some of you may have been exposed to the Course in Miracles. I did a journey in life in which I started out as a young little one whose father was killed in the Second World War when I was just a baby. And I got told, because how do you explain that to a little one, that my father was in heaven with Jesus. So I did a lot of contemplating and working with that as a little kid. Was pretty spiritual little kid in a whole lot of ways, and then had some rough experiences in which I rejected it all. And I went through that several times in my life. Okay? And one of the times I was in the rejection place, don't want anything to do with that stuff. Somebody got, the Course in Miracles showed up. And I had the hardest time with that dang thing. It had all of this God language in it and talking about Jesus. And it's like I did not want to deal with it. However, I had this woman that I dearly loved who had cancer and who swore that she had cured herself through working with the Course. And so I wiggled my way on through sort of, okay, I won't pay attention to all those spiritual words. I'm just going to pay attention to love is letting go of fear. Okay? I'll just pay attention to that part. And the other big part about it was that not only was love letting go of fear, but anything that wasn't love, anytime I got caught in fear, I was to view it as a call for love. A call for love. teacher that I got very connected with later in life called Dr. David Hawkins recommends the Course in Miracles because he says if you work the workbook, about lesson 76 or so, there's a lesson for every day, he said there's a point at which there's a change in consciousness. Yeah. There's a change in consciousness. Because begin to get, and it's what I want to anchor you into thinking about today, there's a way that you get that love truly is a healing spiritual practice. That there is no way that your life will not transform if you begin to apply the principles of love to your life. No matter what the challenge, no matter what's going on with you, no matter where you feel stuck, Jesus was right. The whole dang thing is God, and I'm connected with it when I tune into love. And so are you. And the deal about it is, notice, Jesus didn't say, love what your enemies do. He said, love them. Love them. That we're all here on a spiritual journey to learn to love. To learn to love. One of the things I got a great deal of awareness from, there's a book by Dr. David Hawkins. He has a lot of books, but the one called Power versus Force was the first one I was exposed to. And he is another person who's, Charles Fillmore was a mystic. Teilhard was, various ones. I'm attracted to mystics. But they're pretty neat folks, yeah. But through he was a psychiatrist and a lot of interesting life experiences in that world and incredibly successful in New York. But he had some very deep mystical experiences, at which point he finally had to leave his practice to begin to absorb and work with all of that. And he ended up doing a lot of spiritual research to try to understand all that, and he's done a wonderful job, really, of explaining a lot of that. And one of the things that he developed that is so right on is something called a map of consciousness. And it goes from down there where we're in anger and a lot of negative kind of emotions, on up to a place of neutrality, and works on up to eventually the place of love. And what he demonstrates with that and through it, and it's interesting, you can learn a lot just by spending time with the map, because it begins to make some sense of where different people are coming from, and up until you get to the level 200, there is not an investment in truth. And things happen at those lower levels simply from force. And it's as you move past that level where there's an investment in truth, and it moves on up, that the power continues to increase. And what happens with that is that the higher the level of consciousness, the more that person who has that is at that level balances out hundreds of negative. I mean, there's a logarithmic kind of thing about it, but balances out the negative that's happening. And it explains how somebody like Gandhi, who came so from love, was able to do what he did that was so transformative, because he was at such a high level of unconditional love. Okay. And the thing about that, to me, that has been so helpful, because I certainly have worked with this in many ways, but it's to come to recognize that it all counts. It all counts. And that one of the most powerful things we can do, really, is when we've gotten caught in something negative and we catch it and we choose again and we turn it energy around. The whole universe breathes a sigh of relief when we do that, when we get it, when we choose again. When we choose again. And to know that there is something I can always be doing. I have learned to watch the news as my prayer call, as my place to send love. As my place to send love. And to know that in the realm of spirit there is no time, there is no space, that I can send love and it goes right where I intend to send it. And that the love is about holding the high watch for awakening, for understanding, for healing. And I don't have to, I pay attention in a hard place about what is mine to do and what to say and where to go. But really, in a way, the most powerful thing we can all do is work on coming from a consciousness of love, recognizing that every place is holy, that everybody is God's beloved, and that all we need to do is begin to build that energy within ourselves and to send it out into the world. And what that does also is it will bring you more and more aware, not just that you're a human being, but that you are a spiritual being. You are a spiritual being. Called to make a difference in the world and called to be a part of what is more and more seen as a huge evolution that we're going through right now. And to recognize that part of what is going on in the world is that things that are negative are coming up to be seen and to be healed. And that there's been and has been an evolution of consciousness. It's part of how we need to look at history, is that what was accepted, what was how you behaved, how you acted to each other, what was done, has evolved. And we're in this process of evolution, and we're in this process of always sorting this out. And the most valuable thing we can do is not sink into the appearances of things that are out of harmony, but rather choose to be love. And you know what? When you choose to be love, when I choose to be love, we are always in the right place. When something pushes your buttons, wow, you're in the right place. Because why? You get to choose again. It gets to turn around. You get to say, okay, I surrender this, and okay, I'm on holy ground. They're on holy ground. I am here to hold the high watch of love. I'm here to hold the high watch of love. I'm here to release and let go of this stuff that's pushing all my buttons. What an opportunity. I am right here in exactly the right place for love. Why? Because it's being called for. I can feel it. I can know it because I'm out of it. I'm not in that energy for that moment. But then when I get back into that energy, and it's very interesting because I keep working with this. We're always working on our stuff. But what I've come to realize is things that used to push my buttons, really used to push my buttons, they don't. They really seriously don't. And there can be things that people are really upset about, and I realize I'm not really upset about it. I've sent maybe a lot of love there. I'm holding the high watch for healing there. But wow, look what's coming up to be healed. Isn't this amazing? See, the spirit and the energy of God is everywhere present, and it's present within you. And the more we awaken, the more we are a part of changing the world. And that means we change ourselves, we change our families, we change our relationships. And you know what? People will start to realize it's happening. It's like, wow, that's going on, and gee, you're calm when you used to, get all agitated. What happened? What happened? Well, you learn to choose love. And what I know is each and every one of you is always in the right place. So God bless. Thanks for being here, and know that the truth of who you are is love.
Well, thank you, Sandra, so much for that message. Just going to always put that hand on the heart and just remember wherever we are. All right. So we've now reached the part of our service where we get to give, to practice the abundance that we are. And we have provided a donation box that is behind you on the table. And as you leave today, you may drop your love offering there. You at home can give by clicking on the donation button on our web page and our YouTube channel. We are always grateful for your generous gift. And as you consider your gift, affirm, I give freely and joyfully, for God is my source, and I have abundance in all areas of my life. And please say with me our offertory blessing. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you.
please join us if you're at home singing Love is My Decision. And if you're here, just mouth the words. Love is my decision, up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision, no one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision, up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision, no one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision, no one needs to dance down that road. Love is my decision, no one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. My decision right here and now.
Oh, just missing. So we have our prayer of protection. So, the love of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, everyone, and have a blessed week. Radiate the love that is inside you. And we'll finish off with a prayer, a peace song.
Please stand at your seats. We can't hold hands yet unless you want to hold the hand of the person you came with. But hold your hands out to the side, and when we get to the end, just raise them up.
With God as three
Thank you and God bless.